In 1967, Covent Garden was still a fruit and vegetable market. The local police station in Bow Street was one of the oldest and most famous in London. That's where Norval Roberts, Britain's first black policeman, was posted at the end of his training.
What was Bow Street like?
Bow Street was okay, but the station itself was a bit of a challenge, shall we say. On my first day, I remember my reporting sergeant saying to me, "Look, you nigger, I'll see to it that you'll never pass your probation." Well, that was a real eye-opener for me. I mean, at that time also I had buttons ripped off my uniform, my tyres were slashed, and car towed away, that sort of thing.
But this was happening to you from people within
Oh, absolutely.
the force?
Yes, my colleagues, yes. But this was, I suppose, sort of an initiation ceremony for me. I could look at it like that.
Yes, I must confess I don't see it as an initiation ceremony at all. I think that is absolutely hateful, irresponsible, and quite disgusting, really. How long did you have to live through that kind of conduct from people who were your own colleagues?
I would say the first 3 years were the worst. I would go back to my section house and just cry myself to sleep, if you like, because that's the only way I could deal with it. But after good cries, you know, things get better and you face it the next day, sort of thing.
But you talk about it almost as though there was a degree of acceptance about what that kind of routine was. Is that truth?
Well, no, but if this is what it took for me to get through, I was never going to resign. If I hadn't made a success of it, I don't know how many other black people would have joined. I had to be on my best behavior. If I hadn't, my detractors would have said, "There you are, see, we've tried, didn't work, we don't need them."
You consciously felt that?
Absolutely.
The victimization Norwell suffered came at a time of heightened racial tension in London. In 1968, Enoch Powell gave his infamous Rivers of Blood speech.
In 15 or 20 years' time, the black man will have the whip hand over the white man.
Norwell's cruelest treatment was mostly at the hands of his colleagues.
What do you think was your worst moment? Do you remember?
Yes, my worst moment, and you may not want to, you may have to edit this out, but it was one afternoon in Covent Garden. The area car went by, and one of the policemen in the area car shouted out, "You black cunt." Now, this was in the afternoon outside the Opera House, loads of people about. And it really got to me. So I went to the station, went up to the Chief Superintendent's office, told him what had happened. He said, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" And I said, "Nothing, sir." Walked out, back to the section house, had a good cry. Next morning I was okay.
It's quite disgusting to hear that comment from one of your colleagues in a passing car.
Yeah.
But then to be confronted with a superior officer who refuses to do anything at all about it.
But that's the way it was then. If you don't admit anything, you don't have to do anything about it.
Aside from the insults, the language, and the conduct of your colleagues and so on, did you have to prove your competence as a police officer?
As a black man in those days, you had to do twice as well to be the same. So if anything that I did, I felt I had to prove myself.
And Norwell Roberts did prove himself. In the 1970s, he was promoted into the CID, and he completed 30 years in the force. On his retirement, he received the Queen's Police Medal for distinguished service.
I never had the same experience as you did, so I don't know how I would have dealt with it, but you take a lot of this with commendable equanimity, if I may say so.
But that's the only way that I felt that I could deal with it, and I still feel that I was right to do that. Nowadays, we live in a different era, and things might be dealt with differently, but I don't know. I still think that I'd probably still deal with it the same way.
It's your way.
It's absolutely my way, as the song says.